Hi everyone, welcome to my Shoreline studio. I'm Sybil Muschik. Behind the camera is Joshua Blanc. Now today we're going to be talking about dendritic printmaking. And this is where you place two painted surfaces together and you pull them apart and you get a certain texture. It's one way to create an abstract. And abstract paintings and printmaking, of course, is probably one of the last things you learn as a painter or printmaker, because you're relying only on the formal elements of, artistic practices. Now we're talking about line, shape, color, direction, all those things, texture, and you try not to name the imagery in the print or piece of artwork. So I have some in front of me here. Just working between, this is a board. I also have, you can use, these are the 5x7s, and canvas boards are good. This is really just a good warm-up exercise, something to do before you start on your regular day's work. But it's a joy to do, and you get some really amazing results. And it does take maybe a few layers to resolve what you're doing, and that's how we're going to be working today. So I inked this plate, I inked that plate, and I had painted this surface to begin with in black. Now today we're going to maybe paint this one in red just to see the difference. And if you have a look, you can see the dendritic parts of it. It gives you sort of a pebbly texture that you probably can't get any other way. So it's a nice way to work. And here, this wonderful texture that you get. Now, you don't want the paint to be too thick. It doesn't work as a print then, and it mushes your colors together. So we're working on fairly thin layers. And here's the other one that, again, these were just prints taken off, sort of like ghost prints, and then finally resolved. And you can see the contrasts, you can see the line work, there are shapes, all these things are abstract elements. And to resolve this one, I had to put some lights back in, and we may have to do that today. So we'll see how it transpires. So let's start with our red layer. I'm just going to use some museum primary red on the base here. We're just going to paint that with a very thin layer. The rest of my paints are all Amsterdam Naples yellow, I think Naples yellow warm, and some, what's this one here? I can't read it anymore, but it's, what is it? This is always, I have talked about this before, where, labeling. Anyway, it's a type of warm red. Silver, light blue, ultramarine, and Prussian blue. So let's start here. Just going to put a little bit on. And you can paint the sides as well if you want. I'm just going to hold this up and then we'll quickly add this on here. This will have to dry before you start working with it. I'm just going to put it on a plate. I think I have a piece of paper here that I started on the last printing session. And we'll just rub it off, and then it'll dry so much faster. Pretty nice layer. Okay, we'll let that dry quickly. While that's drying, and we actually have not a bad start on a print, so maybe we'll use this anyway. So on to this one. Now, what we're going to do is we need some tools. So we're going to put a base layer of, I'm going to put a little bit of This is golden primary yellow. This is a medium viscosity paint. And some of this is sort of a warm neutral Naples yellow. And a little bit of this. So we're going to try for a bit of a rainbow roll, except not many colors of the rainbow in this case. Yeah. Not too much paint, remember. Rolling it out. So we're going to have a nice neutral warm color. Make it as glowy as we can do. Just some little mark making tools. This has got sort of a chisel edge. This is just a pointed tool. And we'll see how much we can take off. So the idea is to, in order for this layer to show through, we must scrape some of this off. So let's get at it. And I'm just going to do some wild and wonderful. And probably the best thing to do in this case is to do it with your non-dominant hand. Then you get really interesting marks. And just be spontaneous, don't think about it. So it's going to leave, you know, some little things here. Okay, so our first dendritic run here is, I think it's fairly dry. Okay, so we've put some pressure on that and we're going to release that. And it sticks pretty good. You can hear that. And so this is our first run. Now, if you like, we can also go back to our paper here and start our paper prints as well. So we're going to be working back and forth between paper and the two plates. My Baron gives us a little more pressure. Can't really use it when we're putting the two plates, so I had Josh help me with that. So here's our first paper print, and we'll take it off the other plate as well. It also helps dry it. I've tried to place it as squarely as possible. From then on, you can flip it over onto the plate, the paper, to you know, keep the edges fairly neat. Okay, we can probably take a little bit more off. So coming off the plate, it's not as, you know, here's a comparison. You can see the dendritic effect, but it doesn't do as nice a print, which is why, you know, working with a gel plate is great. Okay, so next up, we re-ink this. Let's try a little bit of the silver. We give it a bit of a glimmer. And do we want to brighten it up? Let's brighten it up a bit. Could use white too. And we'll roll it out. Now we're barely seeing those underlying patterns. So let's see if our tools will help take any of the paint off. Yes, it will. Okay. So different kind of marks. Again, maybe switch dominant hands and you get much more happening. We're trying to remove quite a bit of the paint, and we just want that dendritic effect in a few spots. Let's do this nice the warm Naples. It's quite an opaque color as well. That means it has a fair amount of white and is not transparent. Unless you roll it really, really thin, because now you can see some of those underlying colors. Okay, let's see what effect this has. And, you know, twists and turns. Play with this. This is a lot of fun, and it's a nice way to get unusual shapes. Art making should be fun. Okay, especially a preliminary exercise. Okay, that dendritic effect. Okay, I need Josh here. We need some muscle. Okay, okay. Hopefully you're not getting paint on yourself.
So far, so good.
Excellent. I think we're good. Okay, let's take this off. Did you hear that? That's wonderful. Okay, so some of the orange is left in there and a little bit is on there. Let's try for printing this to get the extra paint off. Okay. So lining up. You can get pretty close for registration doing it this way. You can use a registration tool as well, but you tend to have, you know, at least a ½ inch border. And sometimes that works, and sometimes it's just a waste of paper. So, okay. All right. So I'm getting a nice background tone, shimmery, and I don't know if you can see the orange as well. And this one. Just flop that over. Since this isn't quite as thick, it's a little easier to register. Okay. I can turn this over, and I can brayer this one. Okay. So now this one is looking really interesting. I'll just move it over for you right here. So by leaving a lot of the whites, we're getting some interesting shapes. Right, okay, so far so good. Now switching gears, we're going to start with complements, blue for the orange. And we'll do the blue on here. Maybe with a slight rainbow roll, just slightly darker. Not too much paint. And layering it on. You want just enough paint so that you can scrape some of it off. We want those underlying layers. And we were going to put white on this one. You don't want it going too dark too fast. My little speedball brayer. These are great because you can actually take them apart. And like these, this roller will come right out and you can clean in behind there because it does, you know, bung up quite a bit if lots of use happens. Okay. Okay, let's see what this tool will do. Maybe start with lines. Doesn't seem to dry as fast on this canvas plate as it does on the gel plate, which is an interesting effect. So more line work. You can do spots, crosses, circles, dots, whatever. We're just removing the white to show the underlayers. Okay, and this one, let's use this tool, and you can do stuff like this. So now I know you're thinking, oh, that's sort of a flowery shape. Remember not to name anything. It's just an abstract shape. I'll make sure that it doesn't look flower-like. Not that that's bad. I was just trying to make sure that you're understanding with abstracts, you don't want to see something realistic in it. You only want to see, you know, the element, like texture and line and so forth. And that looks kind of interesting. Okay. So, between that and that, we'll see what transpires. Again, and we have this plate. We'll just put this on, otherwise that's messy. Josh to the rescue. Okay, a little cleaner.
Feed my cat.
Just walk on there? Yeah.
All right.
No realistic imagery. Paw prints. Okay. Good start. All right, now lift it off. And now you see why I get so excited about this. Look at that. Wow. Okay, now we print back on our sheets. This one to this one. Now it doesn't matter if you, you know, have your paper upside down. That might be interesting too. I'm sort of putting it the same way on the side here. Sliding around my art table here a little bit, my light table. Okay, see what's happening now. Yes, very cool. And you can't name any of the shapes, I dare you. But as an abstract, it really works. Okay, and here's the other one. Put this one aside. Now, I really like it the way it is. Ordinarily, I would probably leave it, but we will see. And line it up. a few lines here as well on the paper. So I'm just using Staples copy paper, which is an acid-free, good quality copy paper. But it is a little bit more, it's 90 GSM, I think. And it's just a little bit more delicate. Okay. Oh, and we almost don't need that final dark layer. Okay. Well, now we have some serious decisions. We want it to be, to have this final shape, some final shape that ties it all together. You have a forward area, you have some depth, some line work. I think we've satisfied most of those requirements, but we need it to be a little touch darker. And with this one, I had to go back and add a lighter area. So, you know, this might be necessary or not. And again, we're going to be scraping most of this off. And let's see what other color. Let's go to this one, which is a slightly different crimson. So it's a warm red. Okay. Now, as you can see, this is a very transparent color. So it probably is a quinacridone, magenta, something like that. Covering all the... So you could work on a much larger scale, like your larger, 12 by 14 plates. Set that aside again. And this is our Prussian blue. Oh, we're going to take most of this off because it's so dark. And for this layer, you could have easily just added a little bit on here, brushed it on with a brush. But we're going to do some really crazy wild stuff here. And take most of it off. But enough of a remnant will happen. And again with the magenta. These tools will all give different marks, so explore and then document what they do. Take pictures, put it in your sketchbook so that you know for future reference, what each tool will do. It'll give you a visual vocabulary of mark making. A good way to work. Now, possibly our last dendritic, and I don't have to ask Josh anymore. He's coming over. Awesome. Yeah, especially in the middle. Thank you. So we have put it on here. Just need to hold it and pull that off. Just deal with any sloppy things here. And then I am putting quite a bit of pressure to make sure that we get all that lovely dendritic. What word? I wonder where it came from. I'll have to do some research. I was thinking of tendrils, you know, little tendrils here and there. But anyway. All right. Okay, now this one. Oh, well, we're not adding a lot. I really like this print as it is. I mean, you could stop, right? Say, okay. But, you know, it's pretty well all the same value, so we need a difference in value to make that print pop a little bit, to make it work. You could use a regular canvas, like, but it buckles a little bit, and I think it would give you way more trouble than, say, a panel like this. They make them much better now. The cardboard in them is treated, and it's quite archival, so just make sure you get a good quality one. For all intents and purposes, for me, this is a dollar store item. But, you know, some of those, even dollar stores, do some research and find out, you know, just how good they are. Because some of them are pretty good, and you could use them for display. Okay, I like it. And just that final darkness just adds that contrast. So it satisfies quite a few of our criteria in terms of abstract elements. You know, we've got contrast, we've got pretty good design. The shapes, you know, are spaced in interesting ways. That's our compositional elements. There's a variety of mark making, some thick, some thin, different colors that are that work well together. So I think we've, as far as an abstract, we've, you know, hit all the right spots. In this case, I think we're going to do one more layer, and I'm going to just add maybe that bright yellow and some white, and that will finish these two. Okay, so in terms of the panel, I think we'll just leave what's on the brayer on there and brayer this one too. Okay, let's do that. So a little bit of the yellow. We might be wandering into the green a little bit. And some white. And I've lost all my tools. Okay. You get so excited about this stuff, things sort of go flying all over the place. Okay, brayering out. I'm going to take quite a bit of it off. And then we'll use this really big one to scrape some of it away. We just want a few remnants of the white and yellow. Just to brighten up the work. And then maybe some line work. Our little dendritic tendrils. Okay. Put that over on here. Line it up. Pressure! Fantastic. Okay. Okay, so this one is much better. I think I'm going to put this down on this one. This will take down the little dark marks a little bit, depending on where I've scraped it off. Okay, good. It didn't overpower the... See, and we've lightened it up considerably. So much better. And some nice solid darks in here. Some good line work. Some interesting colors. Okay, that works pretty good. Now the last one, this one here, what I'm going to do is because we've sort of lost our darks a little bit, I'm just going to put this on a little piece of paper here. And then I'm just going to do some more mark making. Just to show you that there's other ways of working with it. And because we do want a dendritic effect, if there's a little thicker stuff here and there, that's all to the good. Now, they're all sort of separated, so we're going to overlap a few. Overlapping is good. You could consider a center of interest, like have, one area a little darker than the other. But in this case, it isn't necessary. Something will resolve itself. Right back on here. I don't think we have to press quite as hard as before because there's no other layer there. Ah, and there you go. It's all good. And just that, of course this will dry and won't be quite so intense, but it's just to show you, and the marks have a dendritic effect. They have little, as you pull it apart, it gives you this texture, so that's an added bonus. And then you see all the beautiful marks in behind there. So once that dries, it will be quite spectacular. So there you have it, dendritic printing, try it, and a really nice way to do an abstract, maybe a journal, some of these ways of working, make up a little booklet of dendritic prints. There's all sorts of things you can do. Thanks so much for joining us today here at Shoreline Studio, and we'll see you again in a future episode. Take care of yourselves and your families, and be kind to one another. Bye for now.